Yes?
So exploring this village. Pace? What you doing in this kitchen? Dingla, I'll get you sorted out with food and drink. No. What Harrend? The man wears Adir-style robes, simple but elegant. His fine leather shoes look like they were made for padding around indoors, yet they're caked with mud. He yanks at a lock of hair twined around his silk-gloved finger. His fine features are etched with anxiety.
My child is out there. Do they not understand?
My lord, we're doing everything we can. Unfortunately, these villagers...
Beasts take them all. I don't care how you do it, but find her.
Your child is missing, I take it.
Yes, Lady Alice. My daughter. I've asked around, but nobody in this mud hole has any concerns beyond their swine. You turn my men away like beggars and seem downright pleased to be of no use. But you're not one of my soldiers. You look like you're used to getting your hands dirty, if you don't mind my saying so.
If you find her, tell her I won't be upset with her. She can come back and all will be well. I just want to make sure my Alice, my child, is safe. Nothing in the world is more important to me. Can you tell me more about your daughter?
Alice. Of course.
Describe her. She's a striking young woman, bears more resemblance to her mother than to me. She has auburn hair and delicate, well-bred features. She must be, 28 or 29 now. Tell me about her disappearance. We'd stopped in Deerford for a few days. On our fourth evening here, I was making plans to continue our journey. Lady Alice was feeling unwell and went to bed. When I retired a couple of hours later, I found that she had vanished. None of my men had seen her go. No one at the inn knew where she was. Since then, my people have been combing the village, but we've yet to find a clue, and the locals have been no help. Why did you and Alice come to Deerford? It was merely a stop along the way to Ina's Rest. However, she took ill shortly before our arrival, so it seemed prudent to allow her a few days to recover. What's in Ina's Rest? He frowns as if about to protest, but he gives in with a sigh. Lady Alice has reached an age where it is prudent for her to marry. Given this legacy business, I can't let her fertile years slip by, nor do I want her womb to fester in the presence of so many Hollowborn. Yeah, right, she was ill and then ran away. Seems there will be more potential suitors in New Hima or New Yama. You think I haven't considered that? Arranging a suitable match is difficult. The best prospects for my child lay in Ina's Rest. And where's the rest of your family? Surely they wouldn't want to miss your daughter's betrothal. Lady Harrend is ill-suited for travel, I'm afraid, and unfortunately, Alice has few other close relatives. My sister and her husband, Alice's aunt and uncle, of course, have been visiting Ada these past months. He rubs his knuckles. And as for siblings, Alice has none. My wife has only given birth to Hollowborn, since Alice, that is. I heard you arguing with the innkeeper.
A petty, small-minded man, just like the rest of them. I've been paying him an honest fee for board and bed, and yet he can't be bothered to stir himself to concern for my police.
That is why I'm hoping you can help. I should never have trusted these people around my child. Tell me more about yourself.
I'm Lord Nestor Harrow, Fiennes Bay. My family has been prominent there since imperial times. Our primary estate is on the outskirts of Brackenbury, but we have holdings in New Halemar as well. Those went to my sister and her husband.
Lord of Defiance Bay? Yeah, she ran away herself. Ran out the window. God. Glad we have someone else looking for Lady Alice. The sooner we can find her and get out of here, the better. What do you think happened to her? Scratches his head. Could be a lot of things. The locals here don't seem to realise Hadrit's rebellion ended 150 years ago. Crowing about the castle they tore down and built their village over. I wouldn't put something like this past them. He shrugs. If I knew anything concrete, I would have found her by now. Yeah, right, she ran away. It's obvious. You seem eager to leave Deerford. Who wouldn't be? The whole village smells like wet leather and pig shit. The locals have nothing but contempt for anyone who bathes more than once a year. He shakes his head. They won't lift a finger to find Lady Alice. It raises their hackles when we go looking for her. Tell me more about Lady Alice. He shifts his weight. What's there to say? She's a lovely girl. Quiet. Keeps to herself. She'd make any father proud. Perception, he's hiding something. Might have to figure out. Danda. History. See a man open the door of a house with fatigue. Lacing his boots. Nice house. Huh? Goes into the house, gets some bread, calls for someone, and he goes upstairs, keeps calling, we didn't hear, no one responds. Starts panicking, checking everywhere for a child. A letter is next to the door he came in from. With a strange symbol on its wax seal, one he's seen before. Starts to cry and crumples against the wall. Someone took his kid. That? Someone took his kid or something. Nifri? Oh. Yorlin hovers by the window, peering out of it every few seconds. As you enter the room, she watches you carefully, her hand hovering over her stiletto. She cranes her head to peer behind you. Anyone follow you? Who sent you? What are you talking about? The man leaning against the wall glances out the door and nods to Yorlin. The hand over her weapon relaxes, but she's still watching you closely. Some old friends from Defiance Bay are looking for me. We're not exactly friends anymore, if you catch my drift. I'm just trying to lie low and mind my own business. Know what I mean? There's some other people in the room. Boss! Normawa looks at the Yorlin and jerks his head at you. Alright, alright. She raises her hand to your Mara before turning back to you. My friend here thinks you could maybe help us out. Now, I'm sure you're a busy man, so I'll make it worth your while. He flips you a few coins. Just go take a look around town. Come back and let me know if the coast is clear if you see any suspicious figures. You're pretty suspicious. What's this about? She scratches the back of her neck. I may have gotten myself into trouble with some powerful people in Defiance Bay. Powerful criminal people. I suppose it was bound to happen eventually. I'm a thief by trade, and it's hard to do my kind of business in the city without crossing them eventually. Will you become my new thief companion? Now I'm just trying to put some distance between us. Someone told me you were responsible for heinous killings in Defiance Bay. Let me guess, was that someone named Medrith? She draws her stiletto. It's a lie, plain and simple. I got on the wrong side of his employers and now he's after me. If you're here to do his dirty work, I won't make it easy on you. Relax, I just want to hear your side of the story. What story? The Domenels came after me. I just happened to rob the wrong place. How was I supposed to know they'd already claimed it? She runs her hands under her hood and through her hair. It was an honest mistake. I'm just trying to survive now. If you spoke with Medrith, you know where he's waiting. Please, help me get out of here. They're just gonna kill her though. She's just a thief. She's not a murderer. She's to die. I'm not gonna send her to her death. Let you go. Go east. Medrith's waiting for you just west of the river. She nods slowly. Alright, I'm trusting you. You don't have much choice. See if you can send him the other way. That should buy me some more time. She follows the hooded figures towards the stairs, giving you a final uncertain glance as she passes through the door. She might help me later on then. Reading now later on, because all the reading will pile up though. If I keep doing that.
I see something.
Guildmaster's staff? What? Unique staff. Gain 3 uses of restore minor endurance. What? What do you think of that? Priest. Can he use that? These spells on that? Without having it equipped? If it's going to get equipped, does it come up? Yeah, it does. Items. Oh no, that's that. Okay, can we move that? You have to switch to that and then you can. Hmm. That's cool then. Orion. See a man looking at a couple on a cobblestone road. Following them, staring at this lady. Well, the woman laughing drunkenly. The woman with a noble. This guy getting angry at this noble. They're together. This guy has a dagger in hand, sliding along the wall. So in moments he killed the guy and ran. He killed both of them.
Indeed.
I didn't say, he stabbed. I think he killed the guy, I'm not sure if he killed the yawn. Memories. In a cave. There's taking scrolls from shelves. There's the doors and corridors in the cave. There's a battle going on. He's quickly grabbing at his stuff. The enemy's drawing closer. This guy begins casting. There's spells, traps, defenses. And just as his skin hardens into metal, they stride in, swords flying and arrows buzzing. He says to them, "Last chance to rethink this." You fire an arrow at him, and then he starts firing spells back. There are 6 of them. Soon there are 4, 3, and 1. None of them get back up. He begins to dispose of the bodies. Okay. Ooh, close the doors, guys. Yeah.
I'll see it done.
What do you need?
Finished. Where there's a pick, there's a way. It's finished.
I'm done in the inn. Explore the rest of the village.
Ugh, smells like my old hunting leathers.
What's a curry? Curry? Trigill's curry. Dyes? You dye outfit?
Hail and well met.
Trigill, a sturdy, broad-shouldered man, wipes his hands on his slacks. He reeks of the same foul compound wafting from the vats, and his arms are stained with dye. Are you looking to purchase some leather? Oh, he makes leather and makes clothes, and he dyes them. What have you got? Trollhide belt. Regenerate endurance. +1. Girdle of belt of mortal protection. Reduce the critical damage taken by 27%. What's he got? Healing received. We got like natural regen. Maybe that regen one will be good, I don't know. So 133 endurance. Another +1 every 3 seconds. It's like nothing though. How quickly does he regen? Pillars of Eternity. Fighter Endurance Regen. Endurance does not normally regenerate in a fight when no one is hitting you unless you're a fighter. This skill is called Rapid Recovery. Constant Recovery. Passive endurance regen. You gain 5 endurance every 3 seconds. 45 seconds. Be further upgraded by learning Rapid Recovery. Another fighter talent. Wow. Another +32. Increased constant recovery, an enchantment granted by Cloak of the Tireless Defender. best to do? I don't know.
Hey.
I think I like the belt he's currently got because he's got second wind, increases the healing that the priest does to him for 25%, and his ability during regens and potions.
What is it?
Yeah, rather than constant regen. I'll keep what we got. Decrease critical hit damage though. What belt does he got? He hasn't got one. Tell me about. Can you tell me about Alice Harrand? Alice Harrand. He shrugs. Only that her father's men have been banging down doors, so I have trouble looking for her. Never met her myself. What's in the collapsed tower? It's collapsed. Nothing. He rolls his eyes and shrugs. A few hides on stretching racks, and the tallow stench Dengler's always grumbling about. The rest of the keep's dust, just like the fool Lady Thane knew who tried to hold it. There's a bard at the inn who'll tell you the whole blazing story if you want to hear it.
Yes. Well,
You can enchant it, can't you? You can't enchant belts. Hey, stay out of my private quarters! That goes for you and Harren's bootlickers. Courier's key. Find another entrance. A back entrance. Use a key. No. I'm gonna save it and see what's in there. Open the door. I'm nosy. What are you? Effigy's eyes? Stab him! Stop him! He raises his axe, rage in his eyes.
Yes?
Did you have anything interesting?
what is it?
Fuck all.
I'm here.
What's in here? What are you hiding from me? Oh, there is another entrance. Ooh, maybe we can find it. Ooh, some journal. Won't read it now. But there is another entrance somewhere.
Of course.
In Ethel, guy low, moving slowly through a field, got a blade in his hand. Approaches another man. The other man's picking berries from some bush. This figure begins moving again. This figure comes up behind the man and raises the blade to strike. This man suddenly notices him, turns around, grabs his wrist. This man falls onto his back, but he puts his leg in to the center of the other man's the man's chest who's sticking up on him. And the man sticking up on him flies over him and lands on his back in the dirt. Then that guy's on top of him instead. What? Did he break his neck? What? Or something? No, he uses his hands to hit the man round the head and his neck. He falls unconscious, and then the man just goes back to collecting berries.
I'm here.
Okay. What's that? Like a bandit? Something? I'm just like not bothered, this dude. Noticed him ages ago. Dating McLean. This man is in the middle of a forest, back against a tree, trying to hear something. Crouches after it. Grunting in the bushes. This man lands in front of the boar with a knife, slices its neck before the animal can even react. This man jumps on top of the boar. Thinking about how he's going to cook it. Hero. Man walking along a road. Dry skin, lips, is thirsty. Lights a fire, attempts to sleep, keeps doing this for several days, only occasionally drinking water from a goat skin. Takes him days to reach the temple. And the monk, he falls down in the entrance. And the monks take him in. He talks about his journey, which is meaningless to anyone but the monks. And then when he's recovered, he begins a new, long journey to meditating. A spiritual journey. Deerford Crossing. We need to get back to town soon. Grieving Mother. The woman looks briefly at you. This middle-aged peasant woman is dressed in a brown leather cloth draped down to her knees. Her hands are working at separating stringy, colourless vegetables in a pile before her, stripping the heads off the long fibrous stems with a paring knife. She discards the stems one by one, placing the heads of the vegetables in a small cradle-like basket in front of her. She doesn't greet you as you approach. You're not sure she even knows you're there. Excuse me? The woman doesn't respond. She keeps stripping the heads from the vegetables with a steady rhythm. She may be deaf. There's no indication she heard you. Study the woman. At first glance, she seems nothing more than a middle-aged woman, unremarkable, maybe less stern than most, who seems more focused on the weaving in her lap than her surroundings. Yet you suddenly notice she's not stripping the vegetables before her any longer. She's weaving, and the vegetable pots are now missing. She still pays you no mind, her brown locks torn and snagged from lack of washing. Like many of the townsfolk you've seen, there's a strange blur to her. Strange blur? Even the motions of her hands seem to be playing with threads that lack colour, in a shape that lacks interest. What? Maybe that she's half-minded or deaf, but something feels wrong. As you watch, her knitting takes on an odd cadence, and you see a terrible suspicion that something lurks beneath what your eyes are showing you. What? Not who she seems. Magic illusion. Focus on the woman. Her brown hair is long, almost impossibly to the length of her hands. As you follow the streams of her locks downward, the hairs become long and black, splitting off into threads of black and silver and wrapping around her hands. She's forming a soul cradle with the threads, braiding a net in front of you, each finger long and sharp like a series of knitting needles, almost hypnotic. The silver and black strands of her hair weaved together, with silver predominating as a highlight, the black shadowing it. The hell? I've gone into her memories now. And suddenly you're calm. You're on a plateau, almost the height of a tower, several stories high. The plateau is like a table lying beneath a clear sky, and beneath the plateau, surrounding it in all directions, a forest, hazy with mist, although whether it is actual mist or distance, or a recollection. Resting in the curve of a natural arch above you is a great copper bell, half again the size of a man, hanging at attention as if looking down on you, and the event unfolding before you. The plateau is soaked in the sun, and the rock beneath you is rough and warm. The sky forms a cradle around you. You feel different, not disembodied, but you feel your body. Your physical contours have changed along with the surroundings. You hear a soft series of chimes, like wind chimes. At the sound, the scene gains colour and texture, as if the sound is beckoning you gently forth, filling your senses and thoughts like mist roiling softly into a sealed chamber. Focus on the chimes. The chime coaxes you deeper into the memory, and you're certain it is a memory, a warm one. You're on the stone of the plateau, your knees on the warm texture of the ground, silver, white, shimmering like Adra. The plateau is formed of it, glistening in the sun. You can feel the heat on your skin, your wrists and your hands. Your hands are in motion, weaving, not thread, but gathering, tenderly moving along the first movements of Bereth's wheel. Your hands are wet, your hands are upon the flesh of a newborn child, and you can feel the crowning of a tiny head, turning in your grip, its head slick, wet from the womb. Mother holding a baby who's hollow-born. The hands you are weaving, inhabiting, have done this many times, and they are practiced and confident. You can feel distant pains in your own head as the head emerges, a stream of fluid from the womb helping the newborn slide forth, and the woman's laboured breathing, crying out. What the hell? Give birth. Focus on the child. As your hands move, you hear the sound of chimes, clear, cutting through the haze of memory. You cannot see where they are coming from, but they are close, and they are meant as a comfort, of that you are certain. Using magic to draw the child out of her. Oh. Helps give birth using magic. Draw the child forth. Coaxed by your hands and the movements of your hands, every movement causing the chimes to sound again. Almost eagerly the child comes forth, and as it does your hands are in motion, weaving, moving along the length of a soft wet rope. No, an umbilical cord from the legs of the naked woman before you. You are holding a small child, still wet from the womb before you. The child cries out, its cry full of life, full of soul, the ringing of chimes echoing in its thoughts, filling it with its welcome. The soul is blurred at the edges as if you were viewing a soul from within a soul from within a soul. But it is there. It is alive. The woman before you is weeping, and at her first cry, her hands reach out for it. Something's wrong with its soul. It's hollow-born. Its soul is blurred at the edges. Surrender the child to the woman. You surrender the child to her, something you have done many times before. And as your hands move, the chimes echo the movement. You realize the chimes are hanging from cords on your wrists. It's like song, it's chimes coming from her wrists. And where once they echoed in the memory, they are now echoing in the child's mind as well. The chimes are intended to welcome the child, to be its first gentle greeting into the world, a soothing sound guided by the tender motions of your wrists. You are helping to weave its thoughts, its perceptions, and the experience. The woman laughs with a ragged joy, laughing from a parched throat. Her emotions seem soothed, but the physical demands of labor have left her exhausted. But the child is here, the child is safe, and all atop the plateau is peaceful, calm, distant, flattening out as the memory persists. Slowly pull back and retreat from the memory. With effort, the scene bleeds of color, and your mind becomes your own again. There is no pull, no anchor, yet the sound of chimes remains. As they existed in the memory, they sound here as well, and they are hanging from the woven braids on the wrists of the woman before you. And even as your head is spinning from the touch of her mind, the sound of the chimes on her wrists is sharp and clear, as if coaxing you back to the real world. The woman still sits before you, but she is nothing like what you first saw. She's wearing black, shredded garments that drape over her that form like streamers. Her hair is streaks of black and run through with silver. Her age is almost impossible to tell. She simply feels old, like a crumbled watchtower. It's really old. As she lifts her head to face you, you see that her hair is draped across the front of her face like a veil. What you first saw of her was a mental glamour of some sort, unconscious, and you realize that what you see is not what the world sees, and you are perhaps the first to see her true self. What is she? Like a witch. Really old witch. An illusion spell to make her look younger, different. She helps others give birth. Hiding her true self. Who is this lady? Still, you don't sense a threat in the realization. If anything, you feel a sense of relief from the figure. You can hear her thoughts, but she's glad to at last be seen. Who are you?
I am seen, but the eyes of others do not remember. You were the first to see me as I am, the call stripped aside.
The hell? There's a light touch on your mind, a caress, and her left hand mirrors the motion of the touch, reaching up to the air between you. You hear the chime of her wrist sound softly. Her hand moves as if pantomiming, resting on your cheek at a distance. And she speaks softly and slowly.
Your memories. Cadence of wheels in a caravan track. Evil. Questions by running water. Violence in a night's campfire. Arrows in the dark. And flee. Falling rock and cracking stone. And a storm. The storm.
She's seeing into my memories.
Storm that brushed you. Did its screaming wake you from your mind's cradle? Your memory of it is painful. Its cry is difficult to ignore. It's like a child. Many children crying out.
What the hell are you, lady? You voice acted as well, like you're a main character. Random lady in the village. Just says grieving mother. Don't know her name. See my memories. Are you a watcher too? I encountered a beerwick, yes, and it did something to me. Her hand withdraws shyly, the chime sounding softly once again. The woman stands uncertainly, as if she has been sitting for some time, or is too weak to bear her own weight. You notice her cheekbones are tight, her face gaunt, yet while her stance is weak, she seems determined to stand before you.
You are able to see me.
You are able to see me. it is almost a question. You suddenly realize that she doesn't seem to know what you saw when you looked at her in the image on the plateau. Yet the image was so clear, so sharp, you're surprised she didn't feel you there.
To see me is a rare gift, a watcher's gift.
No. She knows I'm a watcher. Was I able to enter your dream?
So many questions, thoughts whirling like storm winds. That storm still roars through you, deep beneath your thoughts, yet muted and sweet, like an underground river. You cannot tell if it is carving new channels, or eroding what keeps your true strength buried. The fact that you could hear it at all, survive it, is something few have ever done. Your power will grow stronger with each soul you touch, as it allowed you to reach out to mine.
There's a silence, and although it seems to last for a heartbeat in your thoughts, it stretches out between the two of you, like a pull between your minds. You blink, take a breath, and then you realize she wants to ask you a question, yet can't form the words, as if assembling them is painful, or there simply are not enough pieces. Assemble the thought. Do you wish to travel with me? You feel a wave of fear, gusted with the strength of relief, although oddly her expression does not change. Then fear dissipates, and you feel strength and certainty, as if the plateau from her memory lies beneath you, and a calm sky looks down upon you. She's a cipher. Who are you, lady? So many companions now. I need you. I need be me. I need the tank. I need Durance, the priest.
You walk your path, I'll walk mine. You can trust me. You walk your path, I'll walk mine.
I've got to travel with Durance, so.
May Wal watch your step.
You can trust me.
Learn of the Grieving Mother's past.
Yes?
Let's do a cipher. What is that class? A dagger. Spells. 17. Got focus points. How does your class even work? She was a midwife. High level 3 spells require 30 focus. Level 2 spells require 20. Level 1 spells require 10. More like mind spells? Psychic energy. Conjure a blade of force. Psychic trauma, invade the enemy's mind. Do you like charge up focus points or something with that? Hi, you lady.
Hey,
Hmm?
hey.
I'm here.
Hi, you lady. Can we talk to her?
Your mind comes bearing questions, Watcher.
You called me a watcher when we met. Do you know what a watcher is? There's a slow chill and for a moment it seems as if she's going to fade from your vision, as if she can't bear to be seen.
The title came unbidden. I do not know why I spoke of it. Yet it seemed the right mentor, a familiar one.
Yet I do not know where it came. From where it came. If I have given offence, forgive me. Forgive me. You would know more than I. Oddly enough, it feels like she's not speaking to you. It feels like she's speaking to an audience. The air takes on the curious edge, a chill, which persists for a sharp moment, then fades into a dull fear. Have you encountered watchers before? I do not know. It is an odd feeling. I do not know where it stems from. It was a word that arose from when you saw me. It is said watchers see much that others do not, and I have been hidden from the eyes of others for some time. How is it no one can see you?
Their eyes see, but their minds will not remember past the call.
The eyes see me? What's the call?
My face is like the call of a newborn, hiding the face beneath. And for my body, I am able to wrap myself as a mother cradling her child. I am here, as you see me, but to them, their eyes see only the cloak that I wear, a peasant mother, dirty, shabby, not worth knowing. As a watcher, you see more than others. To the eyes of most, I am as unseen as the spirits you share memories with.
If you go into their minds and make them think you're just a peasant woman, how are you able to affect minds? I divert the flow of their senses down a different path, to a place easily forgotten. It is not unwelcome when one does not desire the presence of others. The surface of their minds register a figure, but the memory slips away. They see a woman, but there is no desire for conversation, no desire for any questions, and I have none to ask. Kind of like affecting their minds, making they see her, and no one ever talks to her, and want to talk about her. Leave her alone. When we first met, how was I able to enter your dream?
I do not know. What do you speak of? If you were in my thoughts, I could not feel your presence, nor do I know what you saw there.
Wizard, what? As she speaks, you suddenly feel an odd sensation in your mind, like walking into a library, a vault of books, ancient grimoires. You suddenly realize that whether she permits it or not, you could enter her dream and observe it without her ever knowing. There's something about her mind where you could hold it like a book of enchantments, trying each one as you wished, and keep the memory as your own. You can take her memories. Copy them. What? Into my own mind. And suddenly you find yourself back in her, or your, present thoughts. Though you were away for but a moment, she seems unaware of your diversion of thought. It may be one of your gifts, an ability to walk in memories as easily as someone walks upon the ground. Perhaps you'd like to hear what I saw in your memories. A mixture of curiosity and fear wells up between you. She raises her left hand, chiming at her wrists, quelling the rise within her. She's frightened, but curiosity anchors her.
What did you see in my memories? I would hear you speak of them.
The dream, the memory I saw upon meeting you, it was you helping give birth to a child. There's a silence, and as your breath falls still, you hear the faint cry of a child in the distance, a newborn child, almost exactly like what you heard in the dream. And as you listen, the grieving mother raises both her hands, as if weaving, her wrists chiming as she does so, in a semblance of the gentle turning she provided while the newborn was crowning. To your surprise, you recognize the motions and the words from the memory, even as they are new to you. As she weaves her hands through the air in front of her, the child's cries grow still, yet the sound of the chimes weaves almost hypnotically into your thoughts. The sky seems sharp and clear, and you feel as if you are towering over your surroundings, as if kneeling atop a great pillar, just as she did in the memory. As talking about it with her is brought us back into the memory. Without conscious effort, it just popped up again. Like share each other's memories and knowledge, understanding of spells she's casting. To your surprise, the grieving mother falls as if her strings were cut, and her knees crack hard against the ground. Her hands never cease moving in the air, the chimes echoing her movements. In a ragged voice you hear her speak. The voice is that of a much older woman than the one before you, harsh, almost desperate. Is she a watcher? Or is it just because she's a cipher? So ciphers, like psychic people. She's not a watcher, though, I don't think, is she?
Tell me what you saw. Show me what you saw. Where were you?
Where was I? It was in the middle of a forest, atop a great plateau. The sky was clear, mist blanketing the trees. As she kneels before you on the ground, she whispers to you, hoarsely and even fainter with the distance between you.
The stone of the plateau. Its color. Tell me its color.
Adra. As you watch her hands rise before her, she clasps them, then cups again, then cups them, as if feeling them for the first time, and she stares down into the cradle of her hands, and the chimes sound once, twice, as they swing with each movement.
And what did these hands hold?
Her hands held a newborn child. There's a sudden intake of breath, and then a release. Her eyes blur closed, forming into slits, but in the brief glimpse you have of her changing expression, the rippling pain in her features seems to have smoothed. She swallows once, twice, and then you feel her once again in your thoughts, the rasping husk of her voice swallowed and drawn within her.
It was the birthing bell you saw. Has it been so long? Have I forgotten so much?
With the words comes a river of impulses, thoughts, as if loosed from a breaking dam, and as your mind wraps the impulses into words, you realize it is her muscles and her hardened thoughts relaxing and breathing again. So she forgot that memory, but I was able to go into her head, describe it to her, remind her. Because she's quite old actually. She forgot. I reminded her. There's such an intensity you almost want to step back from the flow. But you find the wave of impulses cause questions to float to the surface of her thoughts. Among them is a name. Watcher. What is the birthing bell in your memory?
It is a plateau formed of the spirit stone Audra. At its top is set a great bell, cradled in the reaching arm of the plateau. It stirs in the wind, and it sounds for leagues when struck by kith hands. In distant times, the great bell served as a Glanfathan watchtower, perhaps. Why they abandoned it, I do not know. Other men came in time, settlers, and claimed the tower as their own. I, in turn, claimed it from them. The pillar became a cradle where I could draw new souls into the world.
What the hell? You help people give birth atop this tower? The bell? She was atop of a tower near the bell. The tower was made of Adra. Helps people give birth there. In your memory, were you helping a woman give birth? Where's the birthing bell located? The birthing bell lies deep in the great forests of the Deerwood at the borders of Glanfathan lands. Surrounding it, barely a town, not one you would find on any map, but it held an important place for those there, even if we were far from the beaten track. Small families, tied like a knot, joined at the wrists in mind and thought, all were welcomed, all had purpose. And in your memory, were you helping a woman give birth?
Yes. Yet, I believe you only saw a small part of the birthing ritual. It is not all in a moment, nor in a day. It is a journey of many years between the child, the mother, and I.
How? It takes many years. Give birth. There was much I could do to aid the mother. Some sought the physical comforts of ritual to steady their thoughts, even Adra from the bell. Others would seek advice, words of counsel for the days ahead. I was able to provide draughts, tinctures, and a reading of the child's spirit, all to strengthen the mother. The hell? Takes years. Give birth. What? Can you tell me more about the birthing ritual?
The ritual was one of many steps. It took many tens of years to carve them, but always the child's thoughts were there to guide me. From the moment it began to awaken, to the 3 seasons within the mother, to the birthing day, and the years to follow. The child's thoughts, that is where it began.
Oh, you're saying you look after the baby for a few years afterwards as well?
The expectant mother, I could often sense her thoughts, and those of her child, before she could. I would soothe her, free her from the panic of questions. I would sound the memory of the birthing bell atop the plateau in her mind, letting the memory of the vibrations fill my thoughts and hers. Often, the child's soul could hear it too, so the sound of the bell echoed in my mother's thoughts.
You mentioned the ritual lasted years. What would happen after the birth? Once the pain is channeled away and the mother and child breathe again, I sound the birthing bells on my wrists and allow the mother to hear the child's thoughts, the ringing echoing in each other's thoughts. The bells open the way between them. Let her feelings pass into the newborn. Let her feel the child in return. And when the feelings meet, That is when I weave another memory and leave it tied in their minds. So these bells played an important role in the birthing process. Yes, and for years after, I gave a set to the child after delivery. It is a reminder of the memory the mother and child shared. You feel an odd sensation, a warmth, and you can feel a smile being shared, then it flickers and it is gone. As the bells coax the child forth, so they accompany the child onwards, fastened about the wrists to care for him in mind and body. There is no magic in it, except the magic of practicality. The child sought to leave their cradles or escape their cribs. The mother could know through the warning of the chimes alone. At times, if the bond was strong, so would I. If not watched children, much trouble may be had from tiny hands. Like a... what do you call it? Watch, plan the kids, like in the crib or whatnot. These chimes. So she forms this connection between them through the chimes, and then gives them the chimes, so then she can know if the child's in trouble. The chimes are kept until the child needs them no longer. When I no longer can hear them sounding in my mind, I know their spirit has changed, and the bonds we shared are long gone. The shedding may last many years, or but a few, but it is necessary. So you watched over these children for years after their births. Children are fragile things. Even the ties of blood and mind may not be enough. They must be watched, and even then the body may fail the mind. But if watched, even the most sickly child may cling to life if determined enough, and many of their souls were tied to me. If a child's spirit failed, I could sound the chimes in their mind and grant them strength, even from afar. It did not always serve, but it gave hope. I think can't physically help them, but the chimes just make them feel better. Make them feel safe. Sounds like you've seen tragedy, enough to never wish to feel it again. In the times before the bell, children who died were cast upon the waters of the lake beyond the bell, sometimes while alive, if their paths and futures were deemed weak. It was a different time. Children were treated carelessly. Those times are past. Why if they're born crippled? I have other questions about the birthing bell. You sense the mother's thoughts during this process. Sharing memories and thoughts can bond lives together, as can hardships, and most of all the sharing of what is familiar. The bell itself provided shelter for such thoughts, opportunities to see deep into the crevice, hollows in the rock where one could find shelter, clefts where you could feel the adra all around you. As she speaks, you feel your legs bent, crossed, and the warmth of walls around you, and blankets woven thick beneath you. Such shared images can bond souls even tighter, and allow them to draw strength from each other. Memories of a kid now? What? I've read the questions about the birthing bell. Why would you give a telling of a child's spirit? Why would you want to know about the child's spirit?
Many would come seeking their child's future, or a reading into the child's past, the lives its soul is said to have lived.
Sort of a fortune telling? Their past lives? The past lives of the soul of the child. Or see if she can predict their future. There's a slow chill, and for a moment it seems as if she's going to fade from your vision, as if she can't bear to be seen, and there is a spike of fear, alarm.
Such things are not mine to see. I meant no offense.
Oddly enough, it feels like she's not speaking to you. It feels like she's speaking to an audience. The air takes on a curious edge, a chill, which persists for a sharp moment, then fades into a dull fear. You feel the word watcher resounding in her mind. You're frightened of watchers. As the thought of watchers crosses your mind, you feel a sharp pain, stabbing, and the sudden burn of lashes across your back and shoulder, and then it is gone, and you feel the grieving mother before you, silent, almost fearful and wary.
I was something else, but because the title Watcher was cast on me, the word carried a weight I had neither earned nor deserved. The world seems filled with such titles. They distract, I think, from the actions of the person, from their strengths.
People thought you were a watcher, made you perform a watcher's tasks, but you're just a cipher. Did you believe you were a watcher?
The world has many corners, and in some corners the name Watcher is more known. It is an easier title than ours, and at times it is easier to wear. Placing a title upon what is unknown can dispel the fear of it, and I did not fight it. I even believed it true, though I knew little of the ways of Watchers. It even granted me strength. I was able to see the thoughts of others, shape them, and help guide souls. Watcher seemed enough, and the name seemed to matter little in the light of one's acts.
But if they came to you to read their child's souls, what did you tell them? If you could not see them.
I drew upon the present. I felt the soul of the mother before me, and used that to tell the child's path, to give it a voice. Only the thoughts of the mother and the emotions that lie beneath were mine to impart. I did, and so I used that as the telling of their child's future.
So you made it up. But you feel guilty about it all now. So they believed you were a watcher, but they don't understand what a cipher is. So you just go along with it. And what if what you said turned out to be untrue?
Futures fulfilled by one's own spirit are as strong as anything seen by another's eyes. And if one draws from the emotion of the mother, it matters only when harm is done.
Give them false hope. You feel better at least.
And their lives I knew well. I could weave their lives, their thoughts over time, to the mother, to the child, and once the child had been born, was sheltered, I could relax the threads of thought until the child could stand on its own.
So you shaped their thoughts and made the readings true.
This is my calling, to show them the life I see before them, and even greater, make them believe it.
Altered their minds, made them believe. They had a particular future. That's not what a watcher does. We do not shape minds, we just see them as they are.
Even the most strongly worded tells may not be enough to save a child and allow it to be born. If I have the strength to strip away the stem of a mother's spite to expose kindness, leave nurturing from disdain and neglect, then that is my calling.
If the child doesn't have a bright future, you make the mothers believe it to give the child a chance.
And with the weight of Watcher behind my thoughts, these tells gain strength. Strength I never possessed on my own. They believed. And what they believed became the truth. With each child that was set upon that path, the title of Watcher became stronger. You must understand, without such weight upon my words, many lives would have been lost, drowned, cast in the lake beyond the bell. Now the trail to the lake is lost and reclaimed by the forest, as was meant. A Watcher was not there to look over us, but it was a Watcher that saved them. And with a Watcher's strength, children were born, were cared for, and grew strong.
Saying, you could say you're controlling their minds, though. It's wrong to control other people's minds. But you saved children's lives.
What use is a frightened will when a spirit is at stake? Would you let the fears of a mother end her newborn's life? You felt it in the memory, the weight of it, the importance of the child's life. It was a memory we shared.
But did we share that memory, or did you inflict it upon me? How can I trust you? And suddenly there is a rasping cry across your consciousness. She raises her hands, and you see the chimes draped from them, yet they make no sound as she moves.
A greater good was done, and children were saved. It is a choice you may be forced to make one day, and when faced with it, you will make the same one.
When that happens, I'll make my own choice.
This choice is not yours to make, Watcher. You will do as the world needs, as its children need. It is greater than you and your twist of sight.
I had the name Watcher in your thoughts when you remembered the birthing bell.
It is because I once believed I was one, and others believed I was one.
There is another name for someone with your abilities, is there not? I see the word cipher in your mind, and see its meaning, although I do not train in such things, and the title feels more of a cloak the world casts on me and judges me for. It is curious how a title such as that can define one, and at times be the source of such emotion that comes from no one. But the voices of others, it is a curse of the world. Do you know anything about Watchers? I feel that they were once marked, hated. Such hate feels dimmed now. I can feel it. Other hatreds have risen for other titles, but they have burned bright in the past. Now hates have shifted focus, and they may fall on the same again, either you or me. Why did you believe you were a Watcher? The name Watcher is more known to the world.
The birthing bell. It is where I could draw new souls into the world. I recall some of the memory of it through what you have seen, but not all.
Want to know more about you?
And I, in asking, we reveal ourselves to each other.
Why are you called the Grieving Mother? The air seems to go still for a moment, and time stretches as it did before when the two of you first met. There's a wash of uncertainty from her mind, slowly shaping into questions that swirl and do not coalesce. She does not move. She seems paralyzed, as if you have just wrapped her in a cold blanket.
That is a question for you, not I. That is not my name, although if you wish to hang a title on me, I cannot stop you. Is that what you see when your eyes fall upon me?
So I named you. As a watcher you may see what I do not, or your mind shapes the thoughts I project into a new meaning. There is truth in that title, but it is not all I am. What do you grieve then? You must have felt it, seen it. It has as many names as the pain it has caused. As the words take shape, they seem to tumble from her, and the wave is great, rushing into your mind. To your surprise, you feel as if you've been touched by the beer wick again, and behind it, cutting through the torrent like a knife, are the thoughts of the grieving mother. There is a wound cut across the belly of the world, a jagged knife that has stripped the stems from men and carved furrows across the wombs of women. Well, ouch. Talking about the Hollowborn curse. There's much I have forgotten, but I can feel the wound all around me. It will not let me rest, not let me be. The children have gone silent, yet their voices may be heard again. You're speaking of the Hollowborn? The word... There's a slowness of thoughts, as if the word is being weighed, accepted. It doesn't feel natural to her, you can sense it. That word was once unknown to me, as was much of what unfolded in the outside world. When the curse came upon us, I thought it a smaller thing, a thing of communities and hearths. Her thoughts seemed to stumble as if on weak legs. It was only when I walked did I feel it stretching out around me in all the cracks of the world. Children have been cursed. I do not think it was something they caused, nor something deserved. That which is inside them has been torn away. I do not know how, but this wound must be stitched closed. The world bleeds forth from between a woman's legs. If this blood is not stemmed, the world will die and grow quiet. Children are no longer being born. Just born Hollowborn, just lifeless. Well, not quite lifeless, but sort of like breathing, but like they're all in a coma or unconscious or something. I don't know. So. Do you know its cause? There's a desperation, a welling fear. You can almost feel her thoughts shivering, and you realize she is as lost as you are on the matter, and then a sudden sharp clarity. I shall know it through you. Your eyes will track the cause, find the path, and I will be beside you, Watcher. There's no wound that cannot be healed, and if you are truly a Watcher, then this wound may be seen for what it is. You saw me where I hid. Whoever's hands have stilled the world, you shall see them too. And if there is no way to heal it, what then? I will be there, and you will do what must be done. You are given your sight so that you may watch the world, and you will tend it. The children have their voice again, and if your will is weak, then I shall strengthen it. Lean upon me, Watcher. As I lean upon you, you shall be my eyes, and I shall be your hands when the time comes. You feel a weight in her words, as if her hands are on your shoulders. You feel the questions in your mind lose their edge and become merely words. Do you think of the Deerwood and the Empire? Those titles are markings on the map and channel people's minds in violent directions. Such things are a threadbare blanket cast over the world where men and women seek more importance than simply being. How do you see the world then? The world is a field of souls tilled by Barath's wheel, cycle of life and death. The thought of cultures and territories do not concern me. The sowing and harvest of the field does. Barath's wheel has slowed, perhaps stopped altogether. Whatever words, titles, laws, and blades do not devoted to carving away the harm or healing that wound holds little importance for me. Then let's continue our journey.
I'm here.
Wow, I like her. Together. She's... Wow, some of the things she says and the way she says them is just... The wheel of Barath has stopped. I will aid you, Watcher. Oh, I like her. I'll keep her in my party. My favourite characters, yeah.
I'm here.
We'll stop that. We'll get back tomorrow.
I'm here.
There's something ahead.
Like her. Doesn't have a name, it's Grieving Mother. She's my favourite character now. That was such a cool conversation. It shivers speaking to her.